Setting up the cloud files. This is optional. If you think it's an advantage to working with your files in SOLIDWORKS, you probably have access to one or more cloud drives. You can set up an account with the Google Drive through our school system and sync it to your local drive. Microsoft Office, or actually it's Microsoft 365 now with the Office set of tools. Used to be SkyDrive, now it's OneDrive. And then, of course, Dropbox and Adobe Creative. I don't know, there's probably a bunch more. So the goal is to have one set of one location with the set of files that you need. And in the templates series, we talked about where we could find some of those items: program files, multi-level deeps, into the folder. Really not doing anything with the SOLIDWORKS data. That being the toolbox, that one just kind of need to be aware of that it's there and what it does. And the program data, SOLIDWORKS. The design library is pretty big, so I don't want to move that into the cloud unless I'm sharing it across an organization, across multiple users within my office, say. And then the sheet format and the templates I would like in one location. The properties and geometric tolerances, I think the properties is one that only allows a location. So we have the templates, we have the sheet format. Those are kind of our two primary. Having those in the same folder, as far as I can tell, been doing it for quite a while, does not create any problems. And we're not, if we need one of the defaults or another standard, we can always go grab it. All right, and then the custom properties for our user interface, those are handy. So we're going to end up creating a handful of folders in our SOLIDWORKS system folder, and then going into the Windows File Explorer, and we'll look at this again under the View tab, the file name extensions and the hidden items. Extensions, maybe not so much, other than to be able to tell that, yeah, I'm grabbing a DO, a solid part file, a PRT, an ASM, etc. So I'm going to move this out of the way. And one of the things we can do in Windows is if I drag this over, it's going to ask me which of the screens I would like to have duplicate. So Google Drive doesn't really create one of these expanding folders. So I have navigated into the drive, and I have created, let's see, previously I had a 2022, so I want my naming conventions to be a little more consistent. So there's my 2023 system files. I already made one for the blocks, and so let's go ahead and new folder for the templates, and I will probably create one for the custom properties. And this new folder is the same as this new folder, so whichever one you want to use. And go custom properties. Try to come up with something a little bit different, so it doesn't look exactly like the SOLIDWORKS folder. And then said I wanted one. Maybe I'll do my design library, so that anything that I can create, I will put into that location. Let's see. Previous folders that I've done, we just did the folders. We can do just the templates and the sheet formats. Have favorites. We'll probably go through the favorites at some point, so I'll create another faves folder here. And then I've already got the blocks. Let's see, did I do anything different here? So custom properties, templates, design library. Weldment profiles is a good one. So if I create a weldment profile, it has to follow a specific hierarchy in the folders. So we'll need to follow those. All right, so that gives me enough to start with. If I go into the view, then here is the item checkboxes. I'm not crazy about the item checkboxes, so I usually turn those off. If we want to see extra large icons for looking at videos or pictures, then that's a way to get a little more information out of it. And then the details, of course, date it was created, what it is, and sort of takes the file extension and expands it out. All right, so we need to grab some of these files. So I'm going to do that one more time, where that one goes. And let's grab the templates first. So one of the reasons I'm doing this split screen is that, again, Google Drive doesn't just expand out the folders where I can drag and drop. So I want to be able to go through my my drives and find this information. So program files, SolidWorks. And really the whole point of doing this again is just to not have to, if I need to find these, to be able to navigate to them easily. So I don't really want to do away with, let's see, went to English, so we have the sheet metal, and actually I put the weldments, so maybe, well, here's my bill of material template, so that might be another one I want over here real quick. So since I'm here, we'll do bill of materials. And by vendor, by weight, let's just grab 2 of them because I usually end up customizing those pretty heavily. And we'll just have those to start with. Let's see. What else was in here? The tutorial templates, we'll leave those as our pristine. If I mess something up, I can go back to it. And I'm not seeing the weldments, so I'm going to back up one. And take a quick look. Alright, so I lost the weldment profiles. I'll have to run across that one. Well, when we get to the weldments, we'll get that set up anyway. So, alright, the rest is hopefully going to be in program data. And we're back to SolidWorks. SolidWorks 2023. And then we're looking at the design library. So the design library has all of these items. I can add a folder if you're staying with just the default locations. I can add a folder for my library features or for components that I'm making, things that we want to be able to drag and drop across multiple assemblies. Folders have one location for. Alright, so the language then, and English. Oh, I guess I need to move weldments over. Nope, that's the weldment properties then. There's my my symbols. And we need the properties txt. So we'll just make sure that those two, and typically what happens is if the properties and the symbols aren't in place, then we'll see in the same place, in the same folder, then we'll see that they aren't working correctly. My part properties drawing, let's just copy those. And those are my custom properties. Alright, and then we're ready to look for the templates. So I may have already, nope, I haven't, well, I know that I created those templates, now I just got to remember where I put them. So if I save them to the standard location, SOLIDWORKS 2023, templates. Alright, so with the A landscape, I want to make sure to grab the DRW DOT. Assembly metric, assembly inch. Alright, well we can just grab all of those and do a quick check. Alright, so these are going to be into the templates folder. And paste. Alright, navigating over to the sheet formats then. Let's see, that was language. Oh, there we are. Sheet formats. We have the complete list of everything. And then the last two usually. We'll copy those, paste them in here. And when we go to point these, then we'll start to utilize these items. So I did not launch SOLIDWORKS, so rather than have you guys watch me launch SOLIDWORKS, I'm going to pause here. Okay, ready to start managing our file locations. So I don't need to be in any of the documents, part assembly or drawing. One of the things I've noticed is I used to could be able to have more than 3 or 4. Lately it seems like I've only been able to manage 3 document template folders. So let's go ahead and navigate to 2023 system files, my templates. And this is where we get into escalation or authorizing to work. So this is the one that only allows one location. So we'll navigate back to that. Alright, and pretty much the reason I can tell it's only one is that I'm not, the ad is grayed out, and all it does is give me the option to delete. Now for whatever reason it did not have a design library, but I can, pretty sure I can add another location, so I do want the default. So I'm going to go ahead and navigate all the way down to the program data. And to SOLIDWORKS and 2023. And there is the design library. So that should be the default one. And then if I add my secondary, we'll have to verify where these are actually going. All right, let's see which way am I going here? Alright, and then my design library will go there. And let's see, what else do we have here? Standards, file styles, the sheet formats, definitely. And we can leave those default locations. Just put it back into templates. Let's see, is it going to be symbols or the symbol library file? And once again it's saying only one location, so let's add that, and said hopefully I got both of those. I'll go with the symbols folder. Did not add anything to the weld information just yet. And the blocks, there was the bill of materials templates. Let's back up one, blocks. And then we'll finish up with one more. So if I add a location for it, these will be my my custom locations. Alright, so we hit OK, and it says here's the updated search paths, and then elevation requests. Again, well, only did it a couple times. Alright, so I think sometimes it feels like it's going through each one of those individually. Alright, so the test then is when I go to new, there are the templates, and let's see if I hover over those. So that one's still going to program data. That one's MDB tutorial. So that's what I mentioned. It's not, sometimes it seems like it's not picking up the third. So I'll make a note to investigate that, but worst case I would remove the tutorial. I say, is it going to let me have it, or am I having a video playing? There we go. And let's go back in. Yeah, pretty much know where to find my tutorial files. So in this case, if it's not going to allow me that, I'll delete that one out. And not sure where it's picking up the MBD folder from. So let's go ahead and elevate, yes. Got to do everything twice. And it did not add it. Might be because it's the exact same name. That would that might be the problem. So let's do a little diagnostics here. It's not. It's pretty much ignoring the lowercase. Oh, I'd probably need to remove that one since it's not going to let me edit it directly. And we'll add my templates. Okay, one more with the elevation request. And okay, so one more, my template. So it was a naming issue that it did not like, even though they're in separate folders, separate paths. The naming, even with the lowercase, was not going to let it fly. All right, so we'll leave that. Actually, I think it just opened up another part. Alright, so to check the design library, I now have the design library with default locations. If I created a separate or new folder, I can add to library or add a file location, which would add to this list. Creating a new folder for organization. So you can do the basic file organization stuff here. My custom properties. Appears to have come over, would have to make a change to one of those to really verify that. We need to be in an assembly for the bill of materials. Let's see what else. Haven't created any favorites. The symbols. Alright, so let's just go into a sketch. Probably the quickest symbol is going to be, do I get a diameter? Alright, so I believe it works this way in the parts and the drawings, that if it can't find that symbol, it does a little bracket, diameter, DIA, and let's see, what did I say, bracket, probably less than symbol, diameter, greater than symbol. So if you see those, then there's a disconnect between the properties. So speaking of the properties, if I do the pull down, I am not getting those, so those are not in the right location. So we'll need to diagnose that one real quick. And the properties text, the default properties, that was the symbols. We had the custom properties. Alright, I need to find out where that is at and be right back. Okay, so part of the problem is I do this once or every couple of years, and I know that they need to be connected, but I don't exactly remember where they're connected. Alright, so I pushed a bunch of buttons, and what I found out was that it's not the symbols that need to be in the same, it is the custom properties. So when we paste, I cut it out of that folder, put it in with the other properties. Now, when I go into the files, then I get that list. Alright, so it's going to be a little diagnostic, a little trial and error. Make sure once this works and you get it working on your machine, that would be the point where we go back and do the settings wizard and create a settings with all of these file locations, and not with 9 people or 10 people in the office. Everybody's going to like their screen a little bit different, a little bit to their own personal. So pretty much when you create the settings wizard, everything for the system options is going to come across to the way that you've set it, and then they'll have to add back in, I want this as a background, I want something else as the selection. Alright, so minor inconvenience to get everything pointed in the same direction, but again, the main purpose is that if I create a drawing, and even something like a landscape, I'll do this example real quick just to tie it in with this video, is I decided that on my custom properties that I really don't need to add the drawn by to the table. So if I added drawn by for this template, we can, since I'm the only one at this stage using this template, we can go back and edit the sheet format. I can double click on that link and delete. Go to the link to property, and I jumped away from that pretty quick. So link to property, we're in the current document, and the property name is going to be drawn by. Okay, so now let's see the title block fields. When I click on that one, we'll go ahead and delete it out of the mix, and it's just going to stay there. And we can zoom all, so F4 fit. There it is. And at this stage, we can add a few more things, but at this stage we'll go ahead and save the sheet format. It defaults back to the SOLIDWORKS location, but I'm wanting to update these and put them into my templates. So there's the SLDDRT for the sheet format, and it can overwrite it. And then I want to make sure that if I made any changes, let's see, did we create any layers? I turned the layers on, but I haven't made any layers. So I want to see if, oh, we do have the layers. It just did not allow me to select them. All right. So let's do a file save as to the drawing templates. And then to make sure that it goes to drive. And then the warning that always comes with this is that next time I save, next time I open, it's probably going to default to this location. So if I do just a regular save and I've made, let's see, we go back, why don't we just go back to the one of the parts, and I go to save this part. I just have to be careful that I'm navigating to the file storage location, to the project location, rather than dumping a bunch of stuff in my templates. Alright, so again, completely optional. It's handy to be able, if you're working on a laptop, working on a desktop, need to be able to transport those files. That is an easy way to do it. And again, it takes a little setup, a little debug, make sure everything's working correctly, and then once it's set up, you'll forget it until next time. All right.